Somebody asked me a few months ago to do a review on the Massey '6615, and I said I would. This is a 2014. I bought it 2 years old, but still considered new. It had about 49 hours on it. So new old stock. And in those, it'll be 2 years, August 31st, that I've had it. And it'll be about, it's got 1,567 hours on it right now, I think. So by the time we get through haying here, it'll probably be around 1,900 hours. So looks like we're putting on around 900 hours a year. The hay bine is ready to go. So I'm probably not the best guy to do a review on these tractors because I was using such old ones before this. So anything with a left-hand reverser is going to be considered pretty good for me. But overall, I like the tractor. I guess the easiest thing to do is just sort of say the things you don't like and the things you do like. Now I didn't, as I said, I bought this off the lot, so I didn't spec the tractor. If I had it to do over again, I would get the Dyna 6 transmission. Dyna 4 is a 16 speed, Dyna 6 is a 24, and of course you can also get an IVT. There aren't enough working speeds with the Dyna 4. Now I think there's enough gears, but they're just not geared properly. Now I don't know the engineering behind that. Maybe you can't do it, but there aren't enough working speeds between, say, 5 and 10 miles an hour. You have to do too big of a jump up in speed as you select each gear. So again, like, I don't know if that's just the way it has to be with a Dyna 4 or if they could have done it different, but that's probably my biggest complaint, is just the working speeds. This is a 130 horse tractor, so obviously it's meant to do this type of work. And so you would think in that 5 to 10 mile an hour range you'd be able to move up in sort of half-mile an hour increments, and some of them you jump up in a whole mile per hour from one gear to the next. So that's the biggest complaint. Had some issues with the air conditioner. I just don't think there's enough BTUs in it. The dealer has been great and done a bunch of workarounds on it, and I think they've got it now where it's working better. We put new blower motors in and done a few other little things. Problems. I had one major issue where the front engine seal started leaking slightly, but slightly is still not good. So they had to do that. The dealer has been great. I hear a lot of people complain about warranty work, and I've had no issues at all. Just this thing hasn't cost me anything in terms of repair. The front engine seal was the main issue. Other little things, there's been a little leak out of a hydraulic outlet, and that air conditioner, and a wire broke in the steering column, little things like that, but nothing Nothing too major. The engine is perfectly suited for what I use it for. I did a little cultivating with it this year, pulling a, I can't remember if that cultivator, it's 24 or 25 foot field cultivator, and it handled it, again, you know, with not quite enough gears, but 4.7 miles per hour, it pulled it just fine. I couldn't go to the next gear up because that was 5.7. So that's the first time it's ever been, you know, set wide open and had to do a little hard work. I don't notice the baler on it at all. You know, a full bale pulling a hill, it's not an issue. So front wheel assist is great to have, but again, everybody has that. I didn't before. The def hasn't been an issue. You don't use any in the winter when you're feeding, and it'll go through a little bit when you're doing field work, cutting or baling. The cab is fine. These windows get mucked up. Oh, it's locked because in the wintertime water gets behind the door here. The heat, or the snow does, and then the heat from the cab melts it. When you close the door, it splashes that up and makes that lovely pattern over and over and over. So really, you know, like I said, I'm not the right guy to review these because I don't have enough experience with modern tractors. Tractors that I've owned in the past have all been old International 706, 1206, this Massey 1135, International 1086. When I was working in feedlots, I was using, in the 80s, I was using, one feedlot was all John Deere, but that was 1980s John Deere. The other feedlot was all International, so... and then I kind of got out of primary agriculture for 15 years. So, you know, left-hand reverser is just, that's quite a change in running a front-end loader. And for baling, you know, it's great. They have a few little settings in the cab as far as PTO. You can set it so when you run the throttle wide up as far as it'll go, it only goes up to PTO speed. That's kind of nice, so you're not trying to fiddle with the throttle to get it right at the right PTO speed. You can preset that. So drop in a bale, you slip it into neutral, tie and eject, slip it into forward, and away you go. And you know, that speeds things up drastically from having to sit on the clutch or drop it into neutral, grind it back into gear. But that's all old technology, really. It's just new to me. Can't really think of anything else that I don't like about it. So far, it's been good. The real test is going to be, you know, 5,000 hours, 10,000 hours, because in the end it comes down to money. And are you going to save money, enough money on repairs to make up for the depreciation that you're experiencing with the tractor? And that's the great unknown. So depreciation for accounting purposes and income tax purposes is one thing, but depreciation in terms of how long does this last, how much money do you put in it, and then ultimately what do you get out of it when you replace it, tells you your true depreciation. So don't know that yet, but I would say so far so good. And again, when you hear other people complain about dealers and having issues with the dealer and warranty, I can't say enough about how these guys have treated me. And no, I'm not getting paid. And if the treatment was the other way, I would certainly speak about it. So it's been great. So far so good. So when you're running a loader tractor in Alberta and spring and feeding cattle, the cab is no longer pristine. So cab is comfortable. Ergonomics is good. Visibility is good. There's really no issues here. The radio is kind of a piece of junk, but that's a minor thing. So, don't know what else to say. It's it seems to suit what I needed to do very well, so I'm happy with that. I guess the one other complaint I would have would be servicing the tractor. You'll notice that as you approach your filters, they've got them buried behind the fuel tank, and then the def tank sitting in front of it, so you need to have some long arms to get back there. And then of course with the loader mount, those are really hard to get at. Water separator is there. That's probably the easiest one to get at. So that's, that's kind of annoying. The air filter sits right in the front, so it's easy to get at, but it sucks up dirt like crazy. When I was doing some field work, just the dust coming off the front tires goes straight into the air filter, and a brand new air filter in a matter of hours looks like it's been in there for 20 years. So they used to have a kind of a pre-filter, and that sitting used to be a muffler in the cab, and then that air filter intake, with the old plastic cup on it. The dirt went round and round. You could empty that, but it kept the intake sort of a little bit out of the dust. Because even with the front end loader, then that air filter is picking up dust off the bales, and I guess it's a handy place to get at it. But boy, does it eat! It eats everything. So it's constantly dirty. But maybe that's where they put them all now. I don't know. Anyway, this isn't a very good review, I know, but I'll put a link to a couple other guys that I watch their reviews of Massey's, and they go way in depth. Spring Hollow Hay Farm had a 5613, I think it was, which is the 3-cylinder model. 56 is the line below this 6600 series. And then Farming for Generations has a 76 something, I forget, but it's the 6-cylinder, so the series above this. Most of the cab functions, they're basically the same tractors, just bigger engines. And they go way in depth, which I appreciated when I was looking at this tractor, because I didn't know anything about them. So if you want a good review, watch theirs, not mine.